Hey there, Bobby here, Chords.com. In this lesson, we're going to learn Always With Me, Always With You by Joe Satriani. Okay, if you're a Joe Satriani fan, you obviously know this tune. It's one of his more well-known tunes. Beautiful song, very lyrical tune. You know, it has some pretty challenging, cool, like legato style licks in it too, which should be a pretty good challenge if you're an intermediate level player. I classify this tune somewhere between intermediate and advanced level. So if you consider yourself to be an intermediate level player, this would be a good one for you. Some of these licks should present a pretty good technical challenge for you. So anyway, before we get started, let's go ahead and get tuned up. So here's the tuning note. Okay, now the first thing to know about this song is that it's in 3/4. Okay, as far as the timing is concerned, the time signature is 3/4, which means you count this tune in 3 instead of the traditional 1, 2, 3, 4 that most of us are used to in most pop and rock tunes. This one's counted in 3. All right, it's in the key of B major. It's a pretty common key for rock guitar players. We're going to start off by learning the rhythm part that's up front. Okay, we're going to learn the first 16 bars of the rhythm part. And then after that, once the main lead guitar melody comes in, we're not going to bother with the rhythm parts anymore. I'm sure you're not learning this tune for the rhythm parts anyway. But the rhythm part up front is definitely worth learning. It's a cool little part, and it's pretty signature to the tune. So if you're going to play this song, with your friends or live in a band, you're going to have to play this part up front anyway before the melody kicks in. I'm going to show you what I think is the easiest way to play it. I might show you another way or two that you might want to try to play it. But specifically with the first chord, I'm going to show you what I think is the easiest way to play it, and then I'll show you a couple other ways that you could play it. I'm going to play the rhythm guitar part up front first 16 bars, and then we'll go through and we'll talk about it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's the first 16 bars of rhythm guitar. Now let's go through that one step at a time and figure out what's going on here. This first chord you could play a couple different ways if you wanted to, all right? I think this is the easiest way, so we'll go with that right off the bat, then I'll show you maybe 1 or 2 other ways that you could try it, because if you try it in a different position, you might actually like the way it sounds a little bit better. So anyway, this first chord is pretty much a B chord that uses the open E string, so you could technically call it a B11, whatever. I just kind of refer to it as a B, all right? First finger, 5th string, 2nd fret. Third finger, 4th string. I'm sorry, third finger, 3rd string, 4th fret. And then 4th finger, 2nd string, 4th fret. So you end up with this. 5th string, 3rd string, 2nd string, open 1st string, 2nd string, 3rd string. All right, and this is a strict 8th note rhythm. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and, okay? So you arpeggiate down to the 1st string and then come back up. 1 and 2 and 3 and you can hear a little bit of palm muting in there too. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Now I'm doing my best to palm mute the 1st string, but my volume knob's kind of getting in the way, so that's why you're hearing the 1st string buzz a little bit, but I'll show you another way you can play it in a minute in case you're having the same kind of problem. Anyway, one more time. Okay, so now here's another option or two for this first chord if you decide you want to do it like this. You could come up here into 7th position and play the same notes here, just in a different position on the neck. Okay, so now I'm down here with my 1st finger, 6th string, 7th fret. Now I have my 3rd finger on the 4th string, 9th fret. And then the 2nd finger here on the 3rd string, 8th fret. 6th string, 4th string, 3rd string, still with the open 1st string. All right, then back to the 3rd string, 4th string. All right, one more time. Now it actually does sound a little different. Just the higher up you go, you get onto the thicker strings, and it just sounds a little more bottom heavy. It sounds a little more thick or full, or however you want to describe it. One other way that you might want to try doing this is a little bit of a stretch. You can do this if you want. I'm changing the fingering of these 3 notes. Instead of using 1st, 2nd, and 3rd fingers here, I'm using 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, like this. And then I'm reaching back here with my 1st finger, and I'm getting a fretted note on the 2nd string, 5th fret, which is the same as the open E. All right? So again, you can see this fingering is a little squirrely. 6th string, 4th string, 3rd string, 2nd string. Or if you can make the stretch, you can also play this bass note on the 7th fret of the 6th string with your thumb and do it like this. Now this is definitely technically the hardest way to do it, I think. Either one of these fingerings is pretty much a stretch. I think they're actually pretty decent sounding though. So if you can handle that stretch, then you might want to give it a try up in that upper position. If not, you can stick to this easier version down here. So anyway, this B chord, we played that arpeggio twice. Then we come to our next chord, which is this. If you had to call this something, it's based on E. It's like an E major chord. You might want to call it an E major 7 with an added 6th. Names really don't mean a whole lot in this kind of thing. But it's based on E, okay? So what we have here is the 4th string 6th fret with the 3rd finger, 3rd string 6th fret with the 4th finger, 1st finger here on the 2nd string at the 4th fret, played with the open E string. 6th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. All right, that arpeggio is played once, and then we come to this. This moves down a whole step, down 2 frets towards the head, same fingering. And then what you do, you can either make a bar here to accommodate for the bass note, which is F sharp, or you can actually reach up and play it with your thumb if you can handle that stretch. I can barely do it, it's a little uncomfortable for me, so I prefer personally to play it with the bar. And then it's the same strings that you played the last chord with, okay? 6, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, all right? So now let's go through the first 4 bars of the rhythm, really slow, all right? Starting with this B chord. Those 4 bars repeat. One more time. Now the last 4 bars, it changes up just a little bit. The first chord of the last 4 bars here is based off of G sharp. If you had to call this something, it would be a G sharp minor 11, something like that. So these 3 notes stay the same from the F sharp chord. Now we're just using our 2nd finger here to come up and grab the G sharp bass note, 4th fret of the 6th string. Now if you want, you could also come up with your thumb and grab it like that. Whatever's easiest for you. I like to use my middle finger here. Okay, now we go to the E chord we used earlier, which means we come up here into 4th position with the open E string again. Back to our F sharp chord. You could call this an F sharp sus4 if you wanted to. And now what happens is we replace the 4th finger here, which is the 4th fret on the 3rd string, with the 2nd finger, which is on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string. It becomes a pretty much straight up F sharp triad. All right, so here's the last 4 bars one more time. One more time. Again, any of these bass notes on the 6th string, you can use your thumb if you want to, if you're comfortable with those fingerings. Again, I prefer to use my left-hand fingers for those bass notes. So anyway, that's the 16-bar chordal intro. Now we're going to go into the next 16 bars, which is where the lead guitar melody comes in.